Thank you, Chairpersons, Ms. Harris and Ms. Warner. Of course, I also acknowledge the presence of our Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, Cabinet colleagues, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, the Honorable Lindsey Grant, the Honorable John L. Powell, Ambassadors Ian Patches-Leibard, Michael Powell, Permanent Secretaries present, Mr. Lloyd, Ms. Rattan, Mrs. Simpson-Brown, Mr. Giff, our Chairman of the Board for Skelec, Mr. Don Moncamper, and he has with him a number of other members of the board, Mr. St. Just, Mr. Philip, Mr. Nariani, Mr. Byron, the General Manager for Skelec, Mr. Williams, other managers of Skelec, the Director of our Energy Unit, Dr. Bertel Brown, other staff members from both Skelec and the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Mr. Brian Urban, the Executive Vice President of Leclanche, Mr. Anil Srivastava, Leclanche Chief Executive Officer. We just heard from Raj Waliat Solrid Limited, Director. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning to everyone. One of the goals of our energy policy is the production of 100% of our electricity from renewable sources. We're here today to celebrate a significant milestone in this journey. This is the groundbreaking ceremony for a solar farm. This solar farm represents a giant leap in our endeavor to become an island nation with a sustainable energy sector where reliable, renewable, clean, and affordable energy services are provided to all its citizens, where energy efficiency and the replacement of fossil energy by renewable energy sources will be promoted in all sectors of the economy. When completed, it will have a capacity of 34 megawatts on 45 megawatt hours of energy storage, making it the largest solar generation plus energy storage project in the Caribbean. It is expected to supply up to 18 megawatts of power to the grid between the hours of 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., which is approximately 25 to 30% of the island's electricity needs. The successful completion of this project will provide several benefits to the country. The resource it uses is indigenous. Of course, we are aware that the source is the sun. No pollution associated with the energy from it. And I'm quite certain that those persons who are here from the Ministry of Environment are quite happy to hear such. The project will reduce the amount of greenhouse gases emitted in the Federation, thus assisting in meeting our obligations under the Paris Climate Agreement. The project will also reduce our exposure to unpredictable fossil fuel prices and simplify the process of long-term financial planning for Skelec. It will also make an increase in electricity tariff less likely and employ locals as already has been done. And I really want to underscore the point in terms of the electricity tariffs, because a few years ago, of course, we got accustomed to paying a surcharge for electricity. That surcharge has been removed, but the surcharge was there mainly to cover the fluctuations in the price of the diesel utilized by the generators. With solar, of course, there's no fluctuation in terms of paying for any diesel. And so we really want to welcome this project in terms of helping Skelec to be able to stabilize the price that it charges to the consumers. The project started with a proposal in September 2016. We have progressed this far 4 years later as a result of intense negotiations between Leclanche, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, and SCELEC, ably assisted by the legal department. In the process, we have consulted with many stakeholders, such as the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Sustainable Development, and the Ministry of Environment. This is only one such project being pursued by the government and SCELEC. My ministry and SCELEC are at an advanced stage of negotiation for the construction of a wind farm with an American company. We are still actively pursuing the development of geothermal energy, and waste to energy is being considered. It was only on Monday morning we actually engaged persons from the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, in a meeting as we discussed the way forward relative to the geothermal project that is being contemplated. On the efficiency front, the project to replace all of the existing street lamps on St. Kitts and Nevis with LED lamps is ongoing. Over 40% of the lamps have been replaced. Other projects of note that are on the way are the construction of a partially solar-powered desalination plant on St. Kitts and Nevis by the United Arab Emirates and the ministry's collaboration with the Department of Environment on the electric school bus initiative. Not only is this government pursuing centralized renewable energy, but also distributed renewable energy to enable the common man to participate in and profit from the renewable energy industry. We will soon be engaging a consultant to provide guidance on the implementation of a feed-in tariff where consumers will be paid to supply renewable energy to SCELEC. That was also part of the discussions that we had with CDB on Monday of this week. Therefore, persons who may want to establish their own solar panels within their homes and they have an excess of supply, those persons will be able to provide that excess to SCELEC, and we are coming up with a tariff so that you're not actually supplying it for free, but SCELEC will be paying you for whatever you are able to supply to SCELEC. Of course, some of us would be aware that central bank in particular has implemented a number of solar panels in the car park area, and that is one of the questions that we have had from central bank in terms of selling back the excess power to SCELEC. How much is SCELEC going to pay? But those are policies that we are working on putting in place. We are also actively preparing our locals to find employment in this sector. This year, 42 persons from the Federation were trained free of cost as solar PV technicians, installers, and inspectors. This training prepared them to sit the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, NABCEP, exam. During Energy Month, we engage our primary, secondary, and tertiary students with an art competition in the primary schools, an essay competition in the secondary schools, and the facilitation of tours to a wind and solar farm for students from our tertiary institutions. We had students from SCELEC and CFBC who were able to give a tour of the solar farm at Central Bank, and we had a next set of students who were also able to go over to the island of Nevis and look at the generation of energy from wind in Nevis. So indeed, we are engaging our students. We have said to them that this is a sector that we are serious about, and so we see this major initiative taking place today. We want our students to be able to become the owners, the managers of such types of technology. We have also said to them it's not just about installing the technology, but be prepared, whether it is to become the engineers, to become the accountants, to take advantage of all of the jobs within this particular sector. We don't want to hear a few years from now that we have made a major trust as we are today into renewable energy, and we have to import workers to work in that particular sector. We want our workers, our own people, to be able to do so. And in that regards, I want to commend the team at Skelec, which has been doing an excellent job. Of course, this is a new trust. It may mean retraining, retooling for some of the staff at Skelec, but I have absolutely no doubt that they are able to do so. It was only quite recently when we had an outage and some persons thought that current would have been out for a couple of days. Within just about 1 day, the entire island had been restored. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I wish the project well. I want to commend all who have been associated with the project. I personally don't take any credit for it from the point of view that is a project which began under my predecessor in the ministry, Ambassador Ian Patches-Libod. And for that, we must commend him. The project has finally gotten off of the ground. We are quite thankful for it. I extend gratitude also to those from La Clanche, from Isolred. Raj has indicated to you that he is no stranger to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He would have done a number of lighting projects here, and so we welcome Raj and his team back to the Federation to assist us as we move towards our goal in 100% renewable energy. Thank you.